Hello everyone, it is Tanya coming to you from Rochester, Minnesota, where my family and I run Firefly Berries, which is a fruit farm specializing in Concord grapes, strawberries, and naturally dyed yarn. And this is episode 24. So it's been a while since I came to you, and not by choice. I actually, at the end of July, right about when I was going to film another podcast, which I actually had lots of content to share with you, I tested positive for COVID. So it's been how many years that this has been going on? 2.5 years? And I managed to not get the virus until now. So anyway, I was quite sick for about 4 to 5 days, and the last couple weeks I've been very congested and coughing, and I've had lots of time, well maybe not lots of time, but I've had plenty of time to put together an episode, but I was afraid that I might just cough through the whole thing, and that would be very unpleasant to listen to. So, my throat is still a little froggy. I don't talk a ton yet, so I'm going to try my best to get through this without causing too much distress to my voice or coughing. So if I pause every once in a while to take a drink of water, that is why. But since it's been like 4 or 5 weeks, I have so much knitting to share with you, and actually some crochet today as well. So before I get to my finished objects, which I have 3, yes, 3, I just wanted to share Betty Lou, my lovely dress form here, is sporting one of my favorite shawls. It is not a finished object, but I just wanted to highlight it because it's by Stephen West. It's called Smock It. And I also watched Kevin and Ray of Needles at the Ready, and they are doing a West Knits along. And I think this is maybe the only West Knits pattern that I've ever done. But it's a beautiful shawl, and I love it. So I'm going to hold it up. You won't see my face for a second. So basically, it has a ribbing on the end. I think it's like 2 by 2. And then it's garter. And it's 3 colors, and you use most of 3 skeins, and you kind of switch them off to stripe them. You can see as you go around. And then the border is actually an applied border that you do at the end. So you can see this shawl has been in my closet for a little bit, so it does need to be blocked. And then you have this beautiful picot bind off. So these I think he calls these funky stitches here. I think that's the Smock It stitch. He is always so great about putting little videos and information into his patterns to make it easy. So it wasn't really that complicated. Just took a little practice, and the picot bind off was very time consuming because I think it's somewhere close to 700 stitches at the end, and that is a lot of picot. So let's put this back on. Betty Lou. So finished objects. I was telling you at the beginning here that I actually have 3 finished objects, and I am telling the truth, and they are all socks, pairs of socks. I went crazy with the sock knitting. I think because it was just so, when I was really sick, those first 4 days, I didn't really do anything. I couldn't even really knit more than I couldn't sit up more than half an hour or an hour, and then I'd need to take a nap. But once I started to feel better, I had to do a lot of resting, right? So not moving. And so I did spend a lot of time knitting, and we also had a little vacation planned right after I was sick, and we were still able to go on it because it was still just at an Airbnb up in northern Minnesota, and the host was fine that I had, was recovering, and I was out of isolation. I did not leave here until I was out of isolation. But yeah, so we kind of just went to state parks and relaxed, that sort of vacation. So not near very many people. Anyway, the first pair of socks that I finished were my scrappy rainbow socks, which, if you recall, if you are a member, if you are a frequent viewer of this podcast, by the way, thank you for coming back. And if you are new, welcome. I noticed we had a lot of new subscribers in the last month. So welcome if you are new. But these babies have been on the needles, I think, since February. And don't they look nice? They look nice when they're like this. And then you, oopsie, I messed them up because I didn't have enough yarn. So it turned out fine. I finished them. They will be warm and cozy. But you can see the second pair I did striping every other one. Whereas the first pair I did color blocking. Can you kind of see the difference? So in retrospect, I think, of course, I should have paid more attention, and I could have maybe done the cuff like this and then done the foot, the striping, and the toe, the rainbow. I don't know, but it's all good. The stripy yarn, this is actually my second pair out of this self-striping. It is by Show Me Yarn, and it is the Bell Star colorway. And the the blue minis are, I don't even remember. They might be in my project page, but they are from a Row 1 yarn subscription where you get 10-gram mini skeins each month. And then the sparkly sock is Cookie Feast from last year's Very Fun Yarns Advent Kit. So that's pair number 1. So pair number 1 and pair number 2 were both partially started. Pair number 1 was actually mostly finished. I think I was in the foot of the second one. These, I was only in, I wasn't very far on these. I don't remember if I was even in the second sock. So these were almost a full pair. This is what I'm calling my Dean socks. If you go on my project page in Ravelry, these are for my husband, whose name is Dean. I was really surprised. He picked out this yarn, and I thought, oh, you're getting really crazy in your color choices. He's normally a very neutral kind of guy, but when I first started making him socks many years ago, he was a little skeptical of wool socks at first. Plus, he was not quite as daring, so he always wanted like boring brown or like nothing too exciting. Now he's like, sure, I'll have that one, because he really loves his socks, but he can be kind of rough on his socks. So I decided to use this yarn because it is a Blueface Leicester base, which tends to be a little more durable than the merino. He tends to blow out his like toe area back here on the underside, or his heel. So anyway, this is by, I'm looking at my notes because I can't remember the yarn name, by Subculture Yarn. It is an 80/20 superwash Blueface Leicester, 410 yards, 100 grams in the Finding Neverland colorway. And this yarn I got quite a long time ago when my kids used to get me, what was it called, Knit Crate or Sock Crate? It was a monthly subscription, so this was a colorway in there. And I do my most of my socks 64 stitches, size US 0. I use double pointed needles because that's what I like the best. I tend to do a 1 to 2 inch knit 3 purl 1 rib, and then my husband likes a super long legs, so they are 8 inches from top to heel, so that kind of takes me a while. I like mine to be more like 6.5 inches of leg. So that's pair number 2, and pair number 3, I'm going to put a picture up on the screen right now, actually is a shorty pair of socks I made for my youngest, and I made them in like 5 days, I think. And they are out of, I'm pulling out, oh my gosh, there are needles flying everywhere. I pulled them out. They were made out of a sock blank. This is a pretty old skein too. Essence of Autumn Prairie Sock Blank, and it is an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 115 grams, 420 yards, and it is in the colorway Perfect Storm. And I this is a funny story. I started following, I can't remember her first name, Cheryl? I don't remember. But I started following her on Instagram and on YouTube because I really liked her. She does a lot of really cool dye videos showing her process and things. And I found her just recently, and I didn't even realize that I had something of her yarn in my stash. So this one was another one that I got in when I used to get the monthly subscription. So I'm doing a good job whipping out some socks from my deep stash. So the beginning of the sock blank started more, you can see by the picture, it started more white or cream colored with this little bit of this turquoise mixed in. And then as it gets to the end, it's going to turn black. So I made him his pair that I made of shorties. He likes shorties. I think I did like 10 rows of the ribbing and 10 rows of the, it's on my project page, 10 or 15 rows of stockinette. Maybe it was like an inch of each too, I can't remember. And then I started the heel and then I did the foot. And I used 53 grams of yarn. And this is, like I said earlier, 115 grams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make him another pair of shorties, and he can like mix and match because they will all sort of be like fraternal socks. They'll be similar but different. So the one thing about these, and I think the reason that I got them knit so fast, is that it is a double stranded sock blank, which I've never worked with one of those before, and I have to say I don't really love it, mostly because I knit my socks one at a time. And if you're doing like 2 at a time magic loop, I think it would be perfect, but it was kind of fiddly for me. So what I ended up doing is I did them 2 at a time, but on separate double point needles, so like in tandem. So I had one going on one set and one on the other, and I would do like an inch on one sock, and then I would have to switch and do an inch on the other sock and go back and forth. And I think that's why, one of the reasons that I knit them so fast, and also because it was just fun to see. Sock blanks are always so fun because you don't exactly know what the yarn is going to look like, and it's very unique. Even though she probably dyed many that looked like this, they're all kind of unique. So that was my pair number 3. Okay, so now we are on to works in progress. Excuse me. The thing that I probably put the most work on that was a work in progress previously was my So Basic sweater. And this is a sweater for my husband, and the pattern is by Maxim Sear. So since I came to you last, I finished the body. So I think I was here. I was where this Minnesota marker is. So I finished the body, and then I've done a large chunk of the sleeve. So my husband's, this is the first sweater I've ever knit for him. And he's not a big guy, but he's kind of nervous about it being too tight. And I keep trying to tell him that, it's in superwash. And when you knit in superwash, often when you block it, it stretches way out. Plus, the sleeves have this ribbing, and ribbing is always a lot more forgiving, I think, because, it will stretch out. I mean, look at how big that is. It's like as big as my head. He's not that big. So I'm kind of struggling with following my gut instinct, but trying to ease his fears that it's going to be too tight. So it is a top-down raglan, so I have had him try it on as I go. But he's just a little nervous about it. So, and because it's not for me and it's the first sweater I'm making him, I don't want him to like freak out and be like, oh, it was way too small, and I don't want you to make me another sweater because I didn't like that one. Do you know what I mean? So I'm trying to be kind of cognizant of his wishes and anxieties and also what's going on. So for the sleeve, he tried it on, and he actually wanted it to be a little more loose. So I'm actually not doing many decreases at all until I get almost down to like right here. And then I'm going to do a couple sets of increase and then the ribbing on the wrist. So to be honest, I'm not super excited about this right now. Not because of any other reason than maybe it's I know what it is. It's the moving of the sweater. You know, it's every time I turn the thing, I have to move the sweater. And so it's totally ridiculous, but that's my deal. That's what I don't like right now. So anyway, it's getting done. I am doing at least 10 rows every day. That's what I told myself. 10 rows a day. And then anything more than that is great. So I'll get it done eventually. Okay, so we have the sweater and another whip I've worked on. Let's see. I think everything else is new cast on since I came to you last. So the first one is another pair of socks. I actually have 2 more pairs of socks in the whips category. These are very simple vanilla self-striping socks. And I'm actually working them in tandem. That seems to be my new jam because I feel like I get them done faster. So they are pointy needles everywhere. So this is a Felici, Knit Picks Felici colorway, and it is in the Punch Bug colorway. Excuse me. And I am doing these as a gift knit for Christmas, so I'm planning ahead. And I did like 6 inches. I think I did like 2 inches of ribbing and then 4 inches of leg, and now I'm on the heel here, and I believe I'm at the heel as well. These actually I set up at the Rochester Farmers Market, and the last 2 weekends I've worked on these solely at the market, and I get a lot of it done because I can, I think I've mentioned this before, I can just knit while I talk to people as they're walking by, and then when I get busy, then I put it down. But yeah, I've made a lot of progress on those, so I should hopefully finish those not too long from now. So that's those, and then let's go to the other pair of socks. The next pair of socks, I was in a mood when I was starting to feel better but still in quarantine. I was in the mood to do a pattern sock. So these are the Coffee Talk socks by Tracy Miller of the Grocery Girls podcast. And I am at the, I'm throwing needles all over today. I'm knitting these on what are they called? Carbons. And these are 2 colors that I frogged from my Vertices Unite shawl from the past. Oh wait, that's a Stephen West shawl as well. I forgot, we're still working on that one though. I haven't done anything on that one since I came to you last. But so this is the cool pattern on the front. It's got some fun texture. You can see. There we go, it's kind of blowing out. But these are also going to be a gift. So I think I followed her suggestions, I'm pretty sure, for the repeats here. But the yarn I am using is, where did I put my bag? There we go. The kind of purpley pink, this one. The main color is a Julie Aslan Nomad, 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 115 grams, 400 yards. And it is in the Muse colorway. This one, again, was from one of my Knit Crate subscription boxes. The contrast, I'm going to do the contrast cuff and then a toe. And I'm going to keep the heel the same just to make life easier. Is a Very Fun Yarns sock blank. And this is a single strand sock blank. So it's much longer than the Essence of Autumn one I was using. It's 100 grams, 463 yards. That's what this one is. So yeah, I'm really liking the pattern. It's not that complicated. It's a 4-row repeat. It is a paid-for pattern on Ravelry, so I won't tell you all the secrets, but it's very... once you get going on it and you look at it, you can read the pattern quite well. So the back is just stockinette and the front is the pattern. Yeah, so those have been really fun too. Magic of editing has edited out all of my sneezes, coughs, and whatnot, but if I seem like I'm sniffling, that is why, because off camera, I have been sneezing. The ragweed pollen has also come in, which is not helpful. So this next cast on, I did cast this one on when I was feeling better also, when I was still in quarantine. And this is the Secret Crop, I think. I'll put it on the screen. And it is by Jessie Made Designs. It's basically a crop tank top. However, I like to wear the little like camisole tank tops underneath. And I decided I have plenty of yarn. I have 2 skeins. This is in DK weight. And I have 2 skeins of this yarn. It is Uru 100% organic Pima cotton. And DK weight 100 grams, 266 yards. Colorway is Stardust. Again, from my Knit Crate subscription. So I am just busting the stash out this time around. And so basically how it works is, again, this is the paid for pattern, so I'm not going to tell you all the details, but you start at the bottom and then you knit until you get kind of to your armpit area here, I think, pretty sure. And then you kind of do some shaping and you do like the top part here. On the pattern, the back is just sort of a crisscross. It doesn't go up as far, but I think that I'm going to try and make it similar to the front, but lower. So I think I'm going to make it a little bit higher up on my back and a little bit lower. So it's more like a true tank top. I know there are other tank top patterns I could have followed and made my life easier, but I had this one in my library and I thought, I can figure this out. It's not that complicated. So yeah, I really love this yarn. Isn't that pretty how it's showing up pretty accurate coloring on there, but it has this really cool kind of variegated, not variegated, more like tonal kind of purples. And you don't really see that in the skein so much, but once it's knit up, it looks really cool. Granted, I don't know how much I'm just gonna like wear this, maybe in the summer, but I mean, mostly I'm gonna wear it around the house as pajama top or, something comfy underneath to keep me a little extra warm. Not quite sure how long I'm gonna knit it. I think I kind of have a long torso. So I hate it when, I either like it to be like a true crop top, so it just kind of covers your chest, or I like it to kind of go down to my hips so it doesn't like keep riding up on my stomach. So I really think I have enough yarn, and it seems silly. I have no other plans for this yarn, so I might as well use as much of it as I can. So I think I am going to make it quite long, maybe like 16 inches, something like that. And then I will do the top part. So it's really relaxing because it's just a rib, and you just rib. And I'm knitting them on, I think these are 24-inch Chowgu needles. I think it's like a size 2. I always goes down. I can't remember the pattern. The pattern, of course, calls for something bigger, but I'm a loose knitter, so. Oh, here's my little gauge mark thing. Little stitch, not stitch gauge. It is a 2.25. Oh, really? It's a US 1. No. That's crazy. I guess that's what it is. Well, whatever the case is, I like it. I have tried it on, and it fits nice. So that's I think it's called my secret little crop. And my final 2 projects are actually crochet. So last time I came to you, I talked about how I like to make scrappy blankets with my fingering weight scraps. And I had a granny stripe crochet blanket that I had started using a single strand fingering, but I had, if you've watched the previous episode, you'll remember I had made my chain to start it too tight, and so it was kind of puckering and looking ridiculous. So I pulled it out, and I decided I was going to use either fingering held double or DK weight, and then also pull out my northeasterly blanket that was a DK scraps. And instead I was going to combine them together and do like a dark one with the darker colors and a lighter pastel one. So I actually cast on both. Let me show you the dark one I cast on. My grandma, who, when I was in 3rd grade, taught me how to crochet. And so I thought, when I started this, she was still alive and with us. She's 92. And then she kind of unexpectedly passed away since I came to you last, which was sad. But also, she lived a really good life. Anyway, this was supposed to be her Christmas present. So I've not really done any on this since she passed away. I'm sure I will finish it. But since she taught me to crochet, I thought it would be fun to give her a blanket. So this is the darker colored one. You see it's meant to be kind of a lap. Well, you can kind of see it's sort of, I would say it's about 5.5, it's my wingspan, 5.5 feet across. So a nice size, kind of a throw. But I have kind of all my darker or brighter colors in this one. So that's the first one. And I can't remember what I cast on. I will look it up and put it on the screen and also be linked to my project. And then the pastel one was always meant to be for me. So you can see this one. I'll hold it up closer, maybe you can see some of the colors. I love how the marled looks. When I pick out the colors, here's my fun bag. There's one big magic cake ball in the middle there that's kind of hogging the limelight, but you see I have all these colors in here that are most of them are wound up. So I try to pick, like for instance, this one and this one together, so you have kind of a lighter and a darker when I do it, just because I really like how that marled look is, more than I like the solid look. So, and the DK weight ones, because of that, like this is a solid. And when I do this as DK, it'll be just a solid chunk of peach and it won't be looking marled. So I kind of try to intersperse those so that way it kind of keeps the same look. But I really like this, and I would really like to finish this sooner rather than later, although I haven't crocheted on it a ton since I was really into knitting the socks and the sweater lately, because our new kitten, who is now 15 weeks old, I think. Yes, I think he'll be 16 weeks for almost 4 months. He has taken a real liking to my current, it was a corner to corner crochet blanket that I made for myself that I kind of sleep with. Keeps me a little warmer in the wintertime. But he has taken a real liking to it, and he sleeps between my husband and I, between our pillows, and he can be kind of wild and crazy, as kittens can be. And when he calms down at night, he needs my other blanket. He loves the blanket, and it's sort of like his comfort blanket. So if it calms him down, I have sacrificed and let him have it. So I'm hoping by the time it gets too cold that I will have this finished so that I can have my own warm blanket, which he will probably steal as well. But at least then I can say, no, this one's your blanket. This is Mom's blanket. So anyway, this is a super fun, I should probably open it up, cat knitting bag. I can't even remember. It says it's Emma Ball. I got it at Zombie Knit Apocalypse in the marketplace, and I can't remember who was selling it. Obviously, it wasn't the actual person. It was somebody who was, I can't remember if they were a yarn store or exactly who it was. But anyway, love the bag. So I think that is it for all my projects. I totally felt like I had more, but I guess I finished 3. So, before I leave, in the Dyepots, I don't have too much exciting that I can show you, but I have in the last week started dyeing my winter countdown kits, and I think because of how I dye and how many I dye in a pan at a time, I think I'm going to have like one extra kit that I will have for sale. Excuse me. I think I will have one extra kit when all is said and done. So if you missed out on that and you really want that kit, feel free to leave a note below. It will be the 24 mini skeins plus a full skein for day 25 and all the goodies that go with it. So if that's something that interests you and you leave a note below, the first person to contact me, I will set that aside for you. Otherwise, it will just go up into my inventory online once I am done dyeing them all. But I am working hard on those, and I also hope to have some Christmas colorways in the next week or so. So hopefully by the time I come to you next, I'll have some of those holiday colorways to show you. So, but I think that's it. I really thought this was going to be a much longer episode, but it's kind of like to the point here. Lots of whips, lots of finished objects, and yeah. So thanks so much for coming back, for your patience with me as I rested and got well after being sick. Hopefully I can come to you again in 2 weeks and share all that I've been making. So until next time, thank you so much. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the thumbs up button below if you haven't done that already. But thank you so much, and I look forward to chatting with you again soon. Happy knitting. Bye, everybody.